This edition of Italy TV is sponsored by Colavita extra virgin olive oil. And Cheerio chopped tomatoes.
Italy presents a special Best of edition with a look back of interviews with writer Giorgio Faletti and the senator from Staten Island, Diane Savino, plus a revisit to the barber, a taste of a unique dish in Brooklyn, and an interesting read from Jonathan Galassi.
Il problema non è che fuori si invecchia, il problema è che dentro si resta giovani. Io non lo ritengo un problema, anzi mi sono anche preparato il mio epitafio, quando, gesto tipicamente italiano, quando succederà. Io vorrei che scrivessero sulla mia tomba, qui giace Giorgio Faletti, morto a 17 anni. La mia vita è cominciata e si è chiusa da un punto di vista artistico in un modo abbastanza strano, perché il mio primo sogno nel cassetto, quando ero adolescente, era quello un giorno di diventare scrittore. Poi mi sono scoperto addosso questa capacità, questa inclinazione a far divertire la gente. Avevo 25 anni e onestamente non avevo l'autodisciplina per stare 4-5 ore al giorno seduto a una macchina da scrivere. È stato un percorso, ma mi è rimasto tutto. Secondo
Non sei un distinto signore con barba e baffi.
No, sono un distinto signore con barba e baffi e pochi capelli, però non sono mai diventato maggiorenne nella mia testa, veramente. E di conseguenza la curiosità, l'occhio attento, la concentrazione su quello che mi succede intorno, la voglia di divertirmi e soprattutto la voglia di divertire sono rimasti uguali. E devo dire che ora mi trovo in una situazione molto entusiasmante, perché quando ho le batterie scariche, in un settore, cioè quando il settore della letteratura fa bip 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 così, allora mi posso rivolgere a qualcos'altro, cioè mettermi a scrivere musica ultimamente ho anche iniziato a dipingere e mi piace da morire questa cosa che mi sporco con i colori, è molto bello. La cosa più entusiasmante della mia vita in assoluto è il fatto che mi sveglio la mattina, inizio a lavorare e non ho l'impressione di lavorare. Questa è una cosa che ritengo un privilegio impagabile. Stando su un palco, cioè su un palcoscenico, specie nella tipologia di spettacolo che ho sempre fatto io, cioè one man show, in piedi, da solo davanti al pubblico, in realtà in qualche modo sei un atleta professionista e quando la vigoria fisica se ne va, quando subentra la fatica fisica, automaticamente se ne va anche la concentrazione, per cui le due cose vanno di pari passo. Quando ti dicono fai tanto sport che fa bene, in realtà è una palla colossale, perché si trova alla mia età in cui non c'è più un'articolazione sana. Io ne ho fatto in quantità industriale. A volte mi sveglio al mattino, mi fanno male dei posti che non sapevo di avere, però è un valore lo sport, è un valore nel quale ci si rende conto che nel mondo dello sport si dovrebbero avere degli avversari, non dei nemici. Se questo tipo di concetto fosse traslato anche in altre in altre situazioni della vita sarebbe tutto molto più semplice e molto più facile. Mi interessava scrivere un romanzo da tempo, ambientato nel mondo dello sport, scritto con la tecnica del thriller, cioè con una piccola ansia costruttiva che speravo di trasmettere al lettore, cioè l'ansia di andare a vedere cosa succede nella pagina successiva. Trattava della corruzione nel mondo del calcio e combinazione in concomitanza dell'uscita del libro è scoppiato uno scandalo in Italia che pareva pilotato dal mio romanzo. In quanto essere umano e non autore ho avuto sfortuna perché mi sono reso conto che vivevo in una situazione poco entusiasmante sotto il profilo etico e morale.
In Io sono Dio, Faletti si dice che pensa in un italiano americano, americano italiano, pensi veramente così?
La cosa che cerco di fare quando parlo il mio miserabile inglese è quello di pensare in inglese e mi è sembrato carino, scrivendo l'italiano, di utilizzare dei termini che da noi sono poco conosciuti. Ho il biglietto da $1000 che viene definito un grand, capito? E a volte si trovano dei sofisti della lingua che posso esprimere liberamente il mio parere e dire che se stessero zitti farebbero una figura migliore. Ho avuto una review eccezionale di appunti di un venditore di donne, nello specifico a Pim's Notes. Ho avuto notizia che in Francia la versione francese del libro si sta muovendo molto bene. Sicuramente una piccola magia che mi accompagna è quella di sapere che sono tradotto in tutta una serie di lingue, mi pare 25, e di conseguenza avere sullo scaffale dei libri con dei titoli, a volte anche con degli alfabeti diversi, è molto emozionante, con un piccolo rimpianto, quello di non poter essere in grado di leggere e di curare la traduzione in tutte le lingue, cioè finché si tratta di inglese, francese, spagnolo ce la faccio e poi cedo miseramente e ogni volta che esce un mio libro in turco o in cinese o in giapponese mi affido alla buona volontà e alla perizia del traduttore e degli editori e incrocio le dita.
Hai mai pensato di fare il regista dei tuoi libri?
E mi è stato proposto di fare il regista, cioè di provare questa avventura della regia, però nonostante il fatto che io mi veda impegnato in diverse cose, in realtà sono una persona piuttosto pigra e il regista nel campo cinematografico è praticamente il parafulmine di tutte le problematiche che ci sono su un set. Cioè tutti chiedono al regista, io ho assistito a delle scene facendo l'attore, tipo come lo vuoi lo zerbino? Ma non lo inquadro, sì però come lo vuoi? Cioè ecco questo è il concetto.
Sicuramente faresti l'attore.
L'attore sì, difatti è in preparazione, l'ultimo romanzo, Tra l'altro due tempi, stiamo trattando la cessione dei diritti e dovrei essere il protagonista del romanzo. Anche perché in questo romanzo, per la prima volta nella mia vita, mi sono trovato ad avere un rapporto col protagonista che è stato per metà da autore e per metà da attore. Cioè quando mi sedevo un po' lo scrivevo, un po' lo interpretavo. E dopo un po' questo personaggio ha cominciato nel mio immaginario ad avere la mia faccia, la mia voce, le mie movenze. In effetti gli ho assegnato molti ricordi della mia infanzia, della mia adolescenza che in qualche modo abbiamo in comune. Io non ho parlato con i produttori, il fatto che io mi identificavo parecchio con questo personaggio, però mi è stato proposto, ho detto naturalmente il protagonista maschile sei tu.
Faletti, di nuovo pronto per New York?
New York è diventato un posto un po' speciale per me. Credo di avere una piccola tossicodipendenza che può essere equiparata al mal d'Africa. Cioè, quando ci sono, dopo un po' dico, ah basta, non se ne può più, New York, tutto questo casino, non si trovano i taxi, d'inverno fa freddo, d'estate fa caldo. Combinazione di tutte queste cose che quando sono qui si vedono, stando lontano vengono poco per volta diluite nella memoria, rimane solo il piacere di pensare a fra poco torno a New York.
Staten Island grew so rapidly, and as a result of that growth, it also has the highest concentration of Italian American immigrants or children of immigrants of any county in the country. So I'm Diane Savino. I'm the state senator from the 23rd District, which is a portion of Staten Island and South Brooklyn. I'm a second-generation American. My grandmother, who is 101 right now, her family came from Naples, and my grandfather's family came from Bari. They were Barese and Napolitan. My grandmother's parents actually met on the boat coming over. So they started out as strangers, and when they got off the boat, they were engaged, forcefully, I think. I grew up in Astoria. I moved to Staten Island a little more than 10 years ago. But Astoria was a very, insular community, like many of the outer borough communities were. In Astoria, you were either Irish or Italian, or you were Irish and Italian. And it wasn't until I went to high school in Jamaica, Queens, which is 2 subway rides away, that I really encountered people that didn't look like me. It's really silly when you think about it in a city the size of New York, how insular we could still be. For young Italian Americans, particularly in neighborhoods like mine or in parts of Brooklyn, where the standard of beauty at the time was very different than it is right now. At the time, if you remember, if you picked up a teen magazine, someone that would be on the cover of it would usually be a blonde, blue-eyed, teen model or teen actress. Well, people like myself, we could never achieve that level of the standard of beauty that was dictated by Hollywood. At that point in time, it was around late 1975, 1976, there was this movie that came out called Saturday Night Fever. And it was like a pivotal moment in the social identification of Italian American youth. Because suddenly, here we had these images on TV, on this big screen. They were glamorous, Tony Manero, who was he was like many of the young people that I knew and hung out with, and in Astoria, same neighborhood in Bensonhurst or Bay Ridge, these young Italian guys who suddenly became the image of I don't know, sophistication, as funny as that may be. But now we had our own image. We could be this Italian American Guido. When I moved to Staten Island in 2001, I immediately got involved in the Democratic Party. About 3 years after I got here, David Patterson, who was the former governor, but at the time was the Senate Democratic leader, recruited me to run for Senate. And my initial instinct was, no, can't run for Senate. Like most women, we don't think we can do it. But he was very persuasive, and I started to think about the things that I believed in and what was important in the role of government in the lives of working people and where I could be most effective, and I decided to run. I ran the primary. I won. I went on to win the general election. It was a very expensive race. But yet and still, the North Shore of Staten Island had always been the Irish part of the island. And so I was an Italian American now representing the North Shore, and the first woman to represent Staten Island in the state Senate. So I think there were some people who were whose feathers were ruffled a little, because the Italians are supposed to represent the South Shore of Staten Island, not the North Shore. And so I think some people felt that I was an interloper. And then every now and then I have to remind them that my mother was Irish too, and then they say, oh, well, that's okay. The building of the Verrazano Bridge changed Staten Island forever. It led to the greatest migration of Italian Americans from places like Brooklyn and Queens to Staten Island you know, in the period of maybe 10 or 15 years. It's Italian Americans who had moved there from the Lower East Side were not particularly welcoming of the diversity of Brooklyn, so they were fleeing there, and so Staten Island became the place that they moved to. They then, when they got here, they encountered their own opposition from the prior, you know, immigrants who were here were predominantly Irish, who weren't pleased about the Italians moving into Staten Island, and so it created its own, you know, division. And of course, like what had happened in Brooklyn and what happened in the Bronx and what happened in Queens, is the daughters of Ireland married the sons of Italy, and so now you have this, you know, community of Italian and Irish kids.
For almost my entire life, I've had Italians cut my hair, not just in Italy, but New York. When I was a kid in Brooklyn, it was Sal. In high school, it was Vincenzo in the Bronx. I briefly had a woman who was not Italian, but she looked like Jane Fonda, and it was the 1960s, so I offer no excuses. But for the past 20 years, I've had a magnificent Roman woman named Loredana, who I found on one day when two men with very different haircuts both looked great. I stopped them and I said, "Who cuts your hair?" And they said, "Her name is Loredana and she's from Rome. So I need to have my hair cut." Here we go. C'è molto da fare oggi.
Lo vedo.
I've been coming here for 20 years. I had a lot more hair when I got here, but Loredana's always given me a good haircut with whatever I have. I used to have very bushy, like an afro, and now the hair is coming down and it hangs down. But it used to come up and out.
Yeah,
and
it was very curly.
It was very curly. In Italy once, before I met you, I was in Florence and I got a haircut, and the barber said, "Ma è un cespuglio, it's a bush." In opera, the most famous barber is the barber of Seville. That's a man. But there's a famous woman, Delilah, in Samson Delilah, who cuts hair too. When she cuts hair for Samson, she takes away his power. When Loredana cuts my hair and makes me look good, she gives me power. Better.
So we left our pleasure activists like Fred Plotkin having his barber experience and talking about Barbieri di Siviglia, and I'm here with Stefano Albertini, director of Casa Italiana Zerini Marimo, to try our own experience. Are you ready, Stefano?
I'm ready and waiting to enjoy it.
Let's get shaved. What's the most important thing when it comes to shaving?
My hand got to be very light, not too heavy, got to be very light. If you use a good razor, you give it good shave.
And how often do you shave?
I shave once a week, maybe. Sometimes twice if I have a date or something. And sometimes I shave with the buzzer, and then sometimes I shave with the razor, depending on how close I want to get the shave.
And what do you prefer?
I think I like the razor with the hot cream because it gives a closer shave. It feels better,
this episode where we treated ourselves. It doesn't come that usual, right?
No, but it's really good, especially when it's so cold, to get inside, get pampered, warm towels, and get out and feel fresh and renewed.
We kind of like want to do something like that like every single day, like waking up in the morning, getting to the cold of New York.
That wouldn't be bad at all.
Well, let's go have something, like maybe a coffee.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm Michelle Ciccolone.
And I'm Charles Ciccolone.
And we're here today at Fabbrica, a brand new restaurant in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And we're going to be tasting some classic Italian dishes prepared by Chef Simone. Now this is one of the chef's specialties. It's a creme brulee made with Parmigiano Reggiano. The chef, after making this delicious custard, has put a little bit of a glaze on top and a few drops of balsamic vinegar, 30-year-old balsamic vinegar that he's used to add a contrasting flavor to the sweetness and the creaminess of the creme brulee. Charles, this one seems like a challenge. What do you think would go well with it?
No, it's not a challenge.
Not at all?
This dish calls for Lambrusco. Lambrusco comes from the Emilia part of Emilia-Romagna, and it is a red wine which is sparkling and served slightly chilled. And because of this, it is the type of wine that cuts through heavy food and rich food. So I think that this would really be the perfect combination. As we know, the food of Emilia is very rich, Parmigiano Reggiano, tortellini,
cream.
butter, cream, and all of this. And that's their wine of choice, is Lambrusco. Now there are two types of Lambrusco. One is sweet and one is dry. The sweet ones, in my opinion, are not very good. What we need is a dry Lambrusco if you want a really good wine to go with a very rich dish.
Well, are you ready to try it? What do you
Yes,
think?
we would have dueling spoons to get in.
I think so. I can't
Be
wait.
careful. Wow. This is perfect with Lambrusco.
Oh, I think
the richness of this dish, Lambrusco will cut right through it, and a perfect combination, in my opinion.
It's really unique. It's salty, it's sweet. You have the nuttiness from the cheese, the creaminess from the cream and the eggs.
Wow.
It's going to go great with the wine.
Yes, I already tasted it too. It goes great with the wine. Take my word for it.
Well, thank you very much.
It's a great dish.
For your suggestions.
Yes.
Ciao. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
My favorite Italian novel is The Leopard by Tommaso di Lampedusa. I think it's one of the greatest historical novels ever written. It talks about the interface of the past and the present in a very profound and moving way. It's also a very deeply emotional book and one of the most satisfying novels I know. I think one of the things I love about it is that it's an essay as well as a novel. It's an essay about history, and that combination of the dramatic storytelling of the prince's family and his encounters with modernity, and the author's thinking about the past and history. The interface of those things is very, very successful and idiosyncratic and moving. Why is it still important today? Because, as he says in the book, if things are going to stay the same around here, they have to change. The sense of the relationship of the past and the future is so deeply felt in Italy in general and in the book. I think it's something that Americans can find in the sense of the past that a writer like Tomasi di Lampedusa had. It's a deepening experience for us to read it. And I think it's very beloved among serious readers in the United States. So I always urge everyone to read it. It's one of my favorite novels, one of the greatest novels of the 20th century.
This edition of Italy TV was brought to you by European Flavors, promoting organically grown fruits and vegetables in the best European tradition. And Baci Perugina chocolates. Say I love you the Italian way.